Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the University Honors Program Orientation. My name is Neil, and I will be your host for this afternoon. So first, let me welcome you to the University of Cincinnati and to the University Honors Program. We are glad to have you here as we conduct our virtual orientation. A couple of things. Let's talk about tech for a little bit. So students and parents, if you're here also as well, please feel free to ask questions via the Ask Question prompt, and we will answer as many of those questions as we possibly can. This session is being recorded. Please bear with us if we have any tech challenges. I do know on my end, I might have a couple connectivity issues, but we are working through that and we will plow ahead the best that we can. So I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the program and what you can expect in this session. So this session is an opportunity for you to hear from current UHP students. UHP is short for University Honors Program. So from current University Honors Program students about their experiences in the program. Students watching this live orientation session, you should have already watched our orientation PowerPoint, which is found over on our website, to get a better understanding of the program itself. So this session will be much more of the chance for you to hear from current students to give you an idea of what's possible and what you can do in the program. If you want to get information about the specifics of our program, the best place to do that would be over on our website, so you can watch that video that's narrated by one of our staffers. But any questions that you have, please feel free to send us those questions and we will be glad to answer those. So the vision of the University Honors Program is to develop students into global citizen scholars who lead innovative efforts towards solving the world's complex problems. And this is what guides us in pretty much everything that we do, whether it's individual experiences that students are doing, seminars that we may offer, programs that are offered to our students that are not available to other students on campus. Everything is guided by this vision, turning students into global citizen scholars who lead innovative efforts towards solving the world's complex problems. And we do this through experiential learning. And that's a new term for some people. You know, what does experiential learning mean? And it simply just means learning through experiences. And essentially what it means, even simpler than that, is it means learning outside of the classroom. Now, learning in the classroom is very important, and we will never say it's not important. But I think almost anyone will tell you that's been out of university for a few years, they will tell you that, you know, they learn just as much, maybe if not more, outside of the classroom than they did inside the classroom. Both learning opportunities are valuable, but don't ever discount the learning that goes on outside the classroom while you are in college. So you're going to hear from our students in a few minutes about some of the completed experiential learning projects that they have done that have counted as honors experiences and in ways that are meaningful to them. And this is the key takeaway with our honors experiences, is that they should be meaningful to you as an individual, as our program is very individual based. So as a first year student, you're going to have the opportunity to complete your first honors experience. In Gateway to University Honors, which is a mandatory 1 credit hour course that you will take in the fall. It's taught by us, the staff in the office. I think I'm teaching 2 sections in the fall. In Gateway to Honors, you will learn in much more detail what these experiences are and how you can find ones for yourself and that fit your individual passions and interests. You will also talk with your honors advisor this fall about your interests, your passions, your goals, your strengths, and how honors fits into these during mandatory advising sessions. So to help you see what some possibilities are for honors experiences, I am now going to turn over to our first student, Meredith Hilke, to discuss her honors journey. Meredith.
Hello. So yes, I am Meredith. I am a third year social work student. And just a quick note on the experiential learning component, because it is super important. It's my favorite part of this program. At least for me, it was easy to go into college coming from high school with the mentality that, you know, you're in the classroom to learn content and that you're going to earn the degree and then you'll take it and then you'll work in your career field and we'll see the impact there. But experiential learning is really just the driving force behind being active in that field already and being able to make the connections yourself at an even earlier stage. And so one of my first opportunities to do that was through the Honors Experience Blind Injustice. So that was a seminar experience, and it was all about the criminal justice system and how it does tend to have a flawed nature, especially when it comes into like a courtroom and the application of law. And so it was taught by Mark Godsey, who is actually the co-founder of the Ohio Innocence Project, and that runs out of UC's law school, and they work towards exonerating people who have been falsely convicted of crimes. And so in the nature of that itself, you know, we're not being taught by a professor who knows a lot about the topic. Like, we got to hear every single week from the co-founder of this nationally recognized, you know, each state has some innocence projects. We got to hear from him. And so that was also a really unique perspective that we wouldn't have gotten outside of honors. So yeah, we learned about like cognitive biases and how, you know, eyewitness testimony can be swayed based on how, you know, the prosecution is, you know, dealing their case, and even just the nature of how, you know, that is their job to see these people as cases and not, you know, human beings, where it's easy to just, you know, push along the agenda of the prosecution, and where there could be faults that would then be overlooked just because of the nature of the system. And so, you know, we see a lot, I know, you know, like true crime stuff is getting popular and we see a lot on the news, but there's so much more behind that that is important to understand and know about the process. And that is what we were able to do. And then our experiential component of that was going to the Ohio Supreme Court, and we got to hear a couple cases and speak to the justices. So again, an opportunity we wouldn't have had elsewhere. And along that, we were able to hear from some of the exonerees. And so my personal favorite was Ricky Jackson. He spent 39 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. And he came in, and you wouldn't have known any of that or any of the causes of his case. He just spoke more than anything about how thankful he was for it, and because it like transformed him into the person he was. And so it really makes you look at that and is like, you know, could I have done that? Could I have been, you know, that forgiving of a system? And, you know, he went up and he forgave the person who testified against him, and it essentially led to his conviction. But he was like, you know, you were a victim in this as well. The system's at fault. Like, I forgive you. So that was incredibly powerful to hear. And, you know, taking a look at yourself and like your values and whatnot. And then the other one of the most influential experiences I had was the Crime, Kids, and Abuse seminar. So both of these are the seminars, and I chose them because of their application to my major. So at the time of Blind Injustice, I was a criminal justice major, and as I was taking the Crime, Kids, and Abuse course, I was thinking about going into social work instead and doing a criminal justice minor, but was still pretty unsure of that. So went into this class and we learned about how, you know, popular cases that were focused on in the media actually had a pretty extensive background in terms of how they grew up, how their parents were raised, the cycle of abuse that often occurs. So if a child is abused, their parents were likely abused, and, you know, developing your own theory or your own input of that, of, you know, it's definitely not an excuse, but that factor is taken into, you know, like court cases and used as not necessarily a defense, but kind of to try to sway the outcome of the case in terms of, causes. And so there's so much as well about, how like physical abuse can even lead to chemical changes and things that you wouldn't have, guessed on the surface level of, these cases that are a quick 30-second flash in the news. And so that was also really interesting because then I can take that and apply it to, even now what I'm seeing with certain cases and like looking into them and, how there's just always so much more than what is being presented. And then the experiential component of that was going to the Buckhorn Children and Family Services Center. So that was in Kentucky, and it was essentially where this campus was for girls, and it was kind of the intermittent point between like being in state custody. And so we actually got to, along with like learning about the facility and helping clean it up, meet with some of the girls, which I didn't think we'd be able to do, and they weren't even sure we'd be able to upon getting there. But like we got to speak with some of them and learn about their, just learn about them. Not all of them wanted to talk about what the cause of them being there, which is obviously super understandable, but some of them were also so open and honest and willing, like that's just part of what happened. And so the biggest thing that I came away from with that was one conversation that we had with this one girl who just kept going on and on about like her social worker. And so she was saying how they were making the connections and giving her resources and explaining, her situation to her in a way that was like understanding, but she wasn't also like sugarcoating it. This is her experience. She should know what's going on. And so, yeah, she just kept talking about like my social worker. And that was kind of when it clicked. And I was like, yeah, I want to be that for someone. I want that to be my career, is helping people and working with these people and, making that time of their life just a little easier and having somebody there as an ally. So that was incredibly impactful on, securing my decision to change my major, which is social work now, and then just going away confident in that because I was able to have that experiential learning component that I couldn't have gotten from, just the classroom setting. So yeah, those are the two of my favorite experiences. And my last just little piece to give you is to keep an open mind. Easier said than done, I know, but I came into college criminal justice major and I was dead set on it. I wanted to graduate early and I was going to enter the field. And then, I'm learning new things. I'm seeing my place elsewhere. And I was very stubborn. I was like, this is what I came in to do. I'm not going to change it. But, as I got these experiences and learned more things, I knew that was, I should change. And so even if that means more schooling and things like that, it's going to be, where I am most fulfilled in my future career and where college is going to help me get there. So yeah, really excited for you guys and all that you guys are going to get from the program as well.
Thank you, Meredith. Okay, so now we're going to hear from our next student. Our next student is Haley Rich. Haley.
Hi, my name's Haley. I'm a second-year industrial design student. I was on co-op last semester, so this semester is like the second half of my second year, and then I'll be a third year in the fall. But fun fact, Meredith and I were actually roommates in Marion Spencer freshman year. So that just goes to show that your roommates can turn out to be, people that you spend the rest of college with. So I first want to address my advice, which is joining random games of Ultimate Frisbee on Nipper. It's a great way to make friends. So I'm from Michigan, which was really scary for me coming to Cincinnati because I was the only kid from my high school coming here, which some of you might also be in that same situation. And going into a new major that I wasn't super sure about, and also joining the honors program, I was like, there's so much going on. So that is my advice, is to join in on games on Nipper and just like go up to people and talk to them, and you'll make great friends. And actually the honors program was one of the things that contributed to me like making friends. Like right off the bat, I felt like I made friends through Gateway, I made friends through Leadership, which I'll get into a little bit later, and people I roomed with. all my roommates were honor students, and we're still close today. So UHP is a great like community builder, and you become friends with people that you'd never expect to be friends with. Like going in as an industrial design student, which is in Cincinnati's College of Design, I was pretty expecting to, you know, like only be friends with kids in my major and in that school. But Meredith is criminal justice. Our other friend was in, she was studying going to go to med school. Our other friend's going to be a lawyer, and it's like super cool that like we all got placed together and got to share these experiences together. But yeah, going into my experiences. So Meredith talked a lot about the seminars, and I have not done any of those yet, but I am extremely excited to do those in the future. My schedule is starting to like clear up after all of the foundational classes are out of the way. And there's me and our other roommate, Emily, are like really excited. We're planning on taking one together in the spring, and it's going to be super fun because I've heard nothing but great things about all of the seminars. But my two experiences so far, leadership is it's like a camp basically, and we did ours in between the first semester of freshman year and the second semester of freshman year. And I kind of went into it being like, oh yeah, this is cool. Like I get to go to a camp with a bunch of cool people, learn about being a leader, and eat some food, you know, like it'll be fun. But I was absolutely blown away by like the effect that like this week-long program had on me and who I am as a person and also as a student. I came from, or the town that I'm in right now and grew up in is very, like everyone is very similar. You know, we all are on this like really small beach town in Michigan, and people kind of grew up living the same life. Everyone's parents work at like one of 3 companies, and now I've moved to a huge city, and I'm in this program where it's all these kids from vastly different backgrounds, and they challenge you to start like having like very like educated discussions about like how people lead and how people lead with integrity and like what people need from different people. And it's just like you do it, it's broken up into like big group discussions and different activities, and then you get broken into like a small group, and you get very close with the people in your small group and your leader. My leader was Bria Howard, who is the advisor for DAP, so that was really nice because we have established like a very positive and helpful relationship between each other. But you get placed with these kids in your group, and you just get very like personal about like what it means to be a leader and like a good citizen, and how you can apply that in school and in life and through your experiences. And it definitely like changes the way that you like you walk into your next semester, and you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm a whole new person. Like how am I gonna like be able to carry through like all these new things that I've learned? But it's an incredible experience, and I would recommend that everyone at least like give it a look to see if you want to do it. And you also make some really good friends. Like that whole next semester, I would always on Sunday mornings get breakfast with like these 4 girls that I met, and we would just update each other like on life and on honors, and it was really fun. And we're still pretty close today. There's a girl named Julia Nail who I'm in a sorority, and she's also in one. And whenever we pass each other, like walking to the house, it's like that very friendly, like hello, and it's good. And then you're meeting people from all different majors and all different like places in college. Like I was a freshman, and I started getting close with the senior, and then she graduated, and I learned about her life and what she's doing now. And so it's a very good experience. And leadership also helped me go into the next experience that I did, which is a voice amplifier redesign. So I did it last summer in between my freshman and sophomore year. And that was a self-designed experience. So I knew that I wanted to do a self-designed experience over the summer. In industrial design, so how we get co-ops is you put together portfolios, and then you submit those to companies, and it's basically like an elevated resume. And so I knew that I wanted to do something for my portfolio, and then also to apply like everything that I learned at leadership. And I thought it was a perfect opportunity to do it as a self-designed experience. So to help kind of like bring problem solving and making good in the world, to share that with like the honors program as a design major. So just to give a little background on that, the voice amplifier redesign. So my mom has a vocal cord condition. It's pretty like unknown, and they don't really know like why it happens, but she has a very hard time speaking. It basically sounds like she's like sick all the time, and so she has to wear like this voice amplifier thing at work, which kind of affects how people treat her, because sometimes people can get mean and treat people who are not like exactly like them the same. And so this was like a fully immersive experience for me, where I got to really like learn the life of my mom and like understand what she's living every day, so that I can like solve problems through product design, through the perspective of someone who is like has zero needs that I need. Like there's nothing that I am just being like, oh yeah, this is definitely what she needs. Like everything needed to be like validated in like what she wants. So that was a super good experience, because I not only like I'm learning to design, but I'm learning to design for people who need things that I don't, which is phenomenal, and I think is going to like take me through the rest of my career. Like now I'm going into like this next co-op search, like looking for companies that like we help people, like that I'm not just like working and making a lamp, but like changing the way hospitals are made with the Mayo Clinic and things like that, because like both leadership and then through like the practice of this first experience, like it sparked an initiative that I want to do good for the world. And definitely both of my experiences so far have led me there. Yes, so so when you go into doing a self-designed experience, it's a little intimidating, because you have to write like this proposal and you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. But actually, if it's something that you're passionate about, it's really easy to do, and the pages like go really quickly. I did it driving home from spring break with my friends, and it was super fun because we got to like talk about what we were doing. And you can also, so yeah, I would definitely say like go for things, especially as a whole in college. Like if things make you scared, that's probably like the best thing to try. Like embrace the unknown, and because the things that you're not expecting are going to end up being the most impactful in your career.
Thank you very much, Haley, and also thank you, Meredith. One question that did come through, because I'll be honest, I'm not sure if everyone is seeing the live Q&A. Someone did ask, what is Nippert? So Nippert is our football stadium, Nippert Stadium. It is pretty cool because it's right in the middle of campus, and it is open to anyone to access as long as no one is practicing down there or anything like that. Our Major League Soccer team here in Cincinnati, FC Cincinnati, also plays and practices there normally. But it's actually really cool. You can get lots of students who can go down there and they just play frisbee or toss the ball around, do a little bit of running. Yeah, it's a pretty awesome place to congregate on campus. So at this time, we'd like to turn it over to any questions that students or perhaps parents may have for us about the honors program. If you have questions about UC in general, that's fine. We'll try to answer them the best that we can. So I have a question that came through. What is leadership? And they asked, like, what's its purpose and utility? So I think you both touched on that a little bit. Do one of you maybe want to go a little bit more in depth about that briefly?
Meredith, do you want to share like your side of it?
Yeah, I can do that. So yeah, I also participated in leadership, and the purpose essentially is to kind of generate a vision for yourself. So a vision that you will have for the world around you, essentially, in the near future. And so you kind of focus on, a topic or a subset, and then how you can individually kind of work towards that vision. And so like mine, for example, was focused on the criminal justice system. And so, of course, coming off of blind injustice and my major, my vision was to, have policy change, like, no mandatory minimums and decreasing the presence of biases, which, does seem like a big step, but the purpose is not to make it essentially fit within your guidelines. It's to go beyond what you might think is possible, even though, we're changing every day. The world is changing in ways we don't always recognize. So you take that vision, which is, was like, also had the components of like systematic racism and things that really could be alleviated to have a true justice system where justice is the focus. And then you take yourself and the steps that you can take, even though it seems like this large goal, you'll then create steps for yourself and steps for, people to join in with you where you can work through that and make it not seem like this, daunting, impossible task. And so leadership's purpose is, of course, shaping you as a leader, but demonstrating and, allowing you to see how your role as a leader could transform things outside of your, immediate control.
Yeah, and I just looked on my UHP honors portfolio, which are like the websites that we have that you put all of your reflections and experiences on. And I found we filled out these books where we wrote these things down. And mine was all about designing the school system to be like more inclusive and looks like it's kind of hard to read. I guess my handwriting is really bad, but all about like how we can design the school system to like inspire a passion for learning. And then there was also a document about like our core values and how our core values will then go in to like affect how that we will lead in the future, whether it be something like a project in school all the way up to like maybe you have a whole new startup business that's influencing the world.
Okay, thank you both. Another question came in regarding housing. Am I still offered honors housing if I'm going in with a non-honors roommate? To the other moderators, please correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding of it is honors housing is reserved for honors students. Honors students will have first dibs on selecting rooms and roommates. Once that is done, if there are still spaces available, then I believe non-honor students can be considered, but I have to check on that to be 100% sure, but I believe that's the policy on it.
I'm going to jump in here. My name's Jason Autry. I'm an assistant director. I'm just kind of watching and observing, but I work a lot with our housing departments and everything else. And what Neil said is typically true on most years. However, with the public health issue going on this year, housing has yet to announce their decisions. I believe that they're going to be reaching out within the next week or two to students to let everyone know what exactly the process is. And there's a lot of different factors that they've had to go in, and I know that a lot of students are wanting to hear what that looks like. They haven't even told us yet what those decisions are. By this time in the year, University Housing owns that entire process, operation. Everything that we do is just to reserve the honors floors and the spaces, and they try to work with what that looks like. But given the current situation, University Housing is looking at what their best options are for the fall to make sure that all the students and staff are placed in ways that health professionals and other people, they fall within those guidelines that are kind of set. So I know that many of you are eager to hear about your housing and figure out what that means for you. I've been told as recently as this past Tuesday that those decisions and announcements, you should be expecting those within the next week or two. And you'll want to pay attention to your UC email for that.
And Jason, one other question came in. I'll let you tackle it again, since you're our housing guru in the office. How does housing generally work for honor students for all 4 years? Traditionally, assuming the tradition.
That's actually an easy. That's a much easier question. So, any student who wants to continue to utilize university housing beyond their first year, in January or February, you'll get information about housing reapplication. And it goes generally in different phases, depending on whether or not you want to return to your exact same room or communities to the same building. And then kind of it phases out depending on where you want to move and stay on campus. But all of that is done in January and February. And if you are an honors student wanting to return to honors communities, that works 100% all the time, because and our students can chime in here. At UC, a number of students can opt to live off campus as soon as their second year. Living on campus and in university housing has its benefits of being really flexible to co-op schedules and internships and other things. So like, they're much more understanding about the student experience than some of the private places where you would have to sign a lease and get into other legal agreements. So,
thank you. One more housing question came in real fast. Can honors students pick regular rooms, not honors housing, with first dibs if housing goes as planned?
In previous years, I would say that one of the benefits that honors students have had is the ability to select spaces before all other students, because honor students pretty much act as the guinea pigs. It's a benefit for them, but they act as the guinea pigs to test the system every year to make sure that it works. With the changes that have had to be that are likely for this year, I cannot state what the benefits exactly are and what selection is going to look like for this year. That's what housing is waiting to make sure that they're getting all their details in a row, and we'll be announcing within the next week or two.
Thank you. One thing, new students, I'd like to remind you of that Jason hit on a little bit. He said that the updated information on housing will be coming through quite soon through your UC email. I would just like to let you know, get used to checking your UC email very regularly, daily, starting now. Important information comes through there every day, and it's important to just keep on top of that, to make sure you're up to date on all the new changes and policies and everything. Are there any other questions that anyone has about the program, UC in general? If you have questions about Cincinnati, we can try to answer those perhaps, for those of you that are coming perhaps from outside of the state. Everyone looking good, I think, perhaps. Okay, if you have questions, send them in. All right, it's not a problem. I'd like to remind you that when you register for your fall classes, to register for Honors HNRS, Honors 1010 Gateway to University Honors. This is a mandatory course that all first semester freshmen in our program must take in their fall semester in order to be a part of the honors program. If you do not enroll in this course by the time the fall semester starts, you could end up being removed from the program. It is not an optional, it is a required course. It is a 1 credit hour course. It meets once a week for 50 minutes. It's taught by us, the staff in the office. An important part about this, there is no tuition fee associated with this course. So if you are already at 18 credit hours and this 1 hour course will put you at 19 credit hours, there's no additional tuition tacked on to that extra 19th hour. So do remember that. Please register for Honors 1010 Gateway to University Honors.
It's also your only required course that you have to take for the entire program.
This is also true. Yes, it is the only required course. For those of you that have watched our video that goes into more detail about our program, our course is not class-based. Our program is not class-based. Our program is experience-based. So we do not have required courses in our program. The one deviation to that is Honors 1010 Gateway to University Honors. It is the only required course that we have in the program. Also, if you have an opportunity when you are registering for classes, consider registering for a fall honors seminar if your schedule allows it. So honors seminars are courses that are offered through the honors program. They are solely opportunities for our students. They are usually on very unique topics, and they're taught by some of the best faculty that we have on campus. The proposal process that faculty have to go through to submit these can be quite competitive. So to give you an example of some seminars that we are offering this fall, we're offering Arab 3011, the Arab American Experience, Marginalized or Integrated, and the Language of Baklava. CI 3016 and COM 3016, the Science of Sesame Street, STEM Education in a Media Age. I think that one sounds really cool. CSD 3033, Exposed, the Impact of the Opioid Epidemic on America's Children. I've actually heard quite a few students who have talked about that. They said that they're interested in that. There are several other seminars that we offer. You can find these on our website. For the fall, we offer them every semester, fall, spring, and even summer. Traditionally, we do offer also some seminars that have a travel component. These are study tours. So for example, we have one seminar that looks at the history of World War II, and then at the end of the semester, that group travels to London for a few days and then to Paris for a few days, where they also visit the beaches at Normandy, where the D-Day invasion took place. Those are called study tours. We do offer study tours traditionally in the fall and the spring. However, with the current public health situation, unfortunately, all travel has been canceled by UC, so we will not be offering anything in the fall. We do not know yet what the spring will entail. We are expecting to find that out in the coming weeks. I am normally, I'm the assistant director for global opportunities, so I actually manage all of our international programs. So I'm quite intimately involved with those. If you have questions about study tours at any point in your UC career or anything like that, please feel free to reach out to me. And finally, we'd just like to welcome you to the honors family. In early August, a current student in the program will email you with an invite to join us in learning more about the program and how to get involved. And do remember that the honors program here at UC is individual based. No two students have the same path in the honors program, even students in the same major. You know, student A might be a chemical engineering major and student B might be a chemical engineering major, but the paths and the experiences that they do in the program could vary widely. So remember, we are an individual experience-based program. So everyone's experience and path are going to be unique and different depending on their own passions and interests. Okay. Are there any final questions before we adjourn? Students, parents? Okay. Okay, I think then it looks like we are probably done here for today. Obviously, of course, if you think of any questions in the meantime, feel free to send us an email. You can find our contact information on our website. You can email me directly and I will be glad to answer any and all questions, or if I can't, I will be sure to forward it to the appropriate person in the office who can best answer your question. We hope you enjoyed today's virtual orientation session, and we hope that you're excited about not just starting college, but actually starting college at the University of Cincinnati and joining us here in the honors program. We are excited to have you join us in the fall in whatever capacity that may be. And we look forward to working with you during your time here at the University of Cincinnati. Thank you.